Hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Nafisa Nuha and today I will be presenting about parasocial relationship with social media fitness influencer on health related behavior. Let's move on to chapter 1, which is my research question, which I asked what social attraction to fitness influencer affect followers in health behavior change, what impact of physical attraction to fitness influencer and their intention in engaging in health related behavior, and these are my research question, why I did the research. Now, moving on, these are my research objective. Why did I do this research? What do I want to find out? So, question objectives include to analyze the impact of perceived susceptibility to health risks on the on people, and how does to identify the cues to action to determine like which parasocial relationship and how it acts as a mediator between fitness influencer between our independent variable and dependent variable. So these are my research objectives. Moving on to the variables, I have set 11 variables for my research. The first one being social attraction. What part of the charisma of fitness influencer actually brings people drawn into them? Physical attraction, more so their physical appeal. Task attraction, how they are competent, what kind of fitness do they follow? Perceived expertise, how much do they know? How well is their knowledge? Now, moving on to parasocial relationship, which is their emotional bond, perceived susceptibility to detect their own health worries or concern, perceived benefits, the advantages they can gain, and also perceived barrier, what drives them away from doing fitness, as well as the last three, which is self-efficacy, how much confidence they have in themselves to follow fitness, cues to action, as well as impact on health-related behavior change. So now let's proceed to the measurement instrument. How do we measure our variables? Is we use the 6-point Likert scale. This is to evaluate a respondent's attitudes and perception. So these are, but also to collect demographic data, we put multiple choice question. So we also had our three variables. We categorize them into independent variables, dependent variables, and mediating variables, which I will discuss later. As we can see on the right, this is our hypothesis, and on the left it is our research framework. Our independent variable consists of task attraction, physical attraction, social attraction, as well as perceived expertise, and also our construct of health belief model, which is perceived benefits, perceived susceptibility, perceived barriers, cues to action, as well as self-efficacy, and our dependent variable is how behavior change. So now let's go on to the data collection method. We collected the data through survey form, which is Google form, for an efficient and fast data collection. So this survey is distributed to social media platforms throughout social media platforms to gain more uh, people who follows fitness influencer and friends and family. So we explored how fitness influencers affect people's health behavior. We looked at emotional connection, which is parasocial relationship. We examined the motivation, confidence, and social media cues. We focus on what drives other people to start and stick to fitness influencer routines. So this data is collected to 2 to 3 months, and it yeah. So now let's go on to the demographic profile. So we found out that the most of our social media user consists of people who use them daily on a daily basis. Then we also found out people use them in several times a day. Then we found out that people use them few times a week. And then we found out that the people use them weekends only. And then the most lowest one is infrequently. Moving on to our demographic profile, we found that we have a total of 158 respondents, and we found out that our majority is female participant, which is 55.7%, and our male percent is 44.3. So the most of our participants are 18 to 23-year old, and the most ethnicity that we collected was Malay, Chinese, Indian, and the other ones are international students. Education level is 60.8% of our respondents have a bachelor's degree. Now let's check out our descriptive statistics for our study variables. The top three highest mean score is perceived benefits, physical attraction, as well as task attraction. So this means that respondents strongly agree that health behavior bring positive value, influences appearance play a role in capturing attention, and influences are seen as helpful. And our lowest mean is social attraction. All variables showed acceptable to excellent reliability, the highest being impact of health-related behavior change, task attraction, perceived expertise, as well as social, well as our lowest one is social attraction. So all of them were dependable. So all of our also in correlation analysis, all of our variables showed a significant correlation with health related behavior change, which is a good thing because that is our independent variable. And the strongest positive relationship is self-efficacy, perceived benefits, and parasocial relationship, as well as task attraction. And our weaker but significant one is also perceived attraction, social attraction and perceived barriers. In regression analysis, we found out that our variables indicate a strong predictive power. So significant predictors of health-related behavior change is self-efficacy, perceived benefits, parasocial relationship, task attraction, as well as cues to action. Perceived barriers showed a negative relationship with behavior change. So that's it. In factor analysis, after KMO measure, we found out that it indicates an excellent sampling adequacy for factor analysis. So after we did Bartlett's test of specificity, we found out that it confirms that correlation between items are sufficient for factor analysis. So this means that over 70% of the variation in response is accounted for extraction factor. We categorize our factor into four factors, the first one being parasocial relationship strength. So we found out that respondents feel emotionally attached when influencer takes breaks, motivated as if they're working with a friend. This suggests that influencers are seen as approachable, as well as they support the attraction theory, which is likability strengthens parasocial relationship. And this indicates that parasocial and social attraction is justified behavioral change. Our second factor is self-efficacy and behavioral control. So this indicates that this reflects the Bandura's theory, which is believing ability equals to greater behavior change. Followers adapt routines when they feel capable of doing so. Cross-loading, which suggests that parasocial may indirectly boost self-efficacy, as well as influencers are act not just as a role model but as confidence boosters. So the next factor is physical attraction, which is our third factor. So this is based on McCrickney's attractiveness principle. So we found that physical appeal drives initial interest but not sustainable for behavior change. in a long term. So it suggests that visual appeal alone is not enough to motivate people, and this highlights the need for influencers to combine looks with practical and more valuable content and assets. And our last factor is perceived barriers. So we found out that this reflects the real world obstacle like time constraints or demotivation. So the cross loading suggests that emotional guilt overlaps with practical challenges. Even strong parasocial bonds can fully overcome logistical barrier. Influencers should actually provide more easier alternative or realistic solutions. Now, let's move on to summary of our findings. We found out that all of our hypothesis is accepted, except for one, which is perceived barrier is negatively influenced or negatively related to health behavior change. So this is rejected. Last but not least, in chapter 4, we discuss one important part, which is the recommendation to the future. So, in future research, we think we should improve the research design, we should expand the sample and scope, we should deepen the influencer contacts. For example, just not just we should compare to different types of influencer more deeper what kind of routine and make it more categorize it even more specifically as well as well as explore additional variables such as like what are the constraint, what are the negative effect, what is the negative impact of influencer and fitness community, how do they actually interact with body positivity movement, or how do they interact with our own self image. That's it from me. I am Nafisa Nuha. That's Thank you so much.